Okay, now that we have our cake covered in fondant, we're ready for the really fun part. We get to be creative and we get to decorate our cake. So I'm going to pipe with some buttercream. I've got just a simple buttercream made, and I'm going to go ahead and fill my piping bag. I want to make sure that I don't get too many air bubbles in my piping bag, otherwise it gets really hard to use and your decorations don't come out evenly. So I'm just going to put a little bit of buttercream into my piping bag. I'm going to pull it up, and I'm just going to, with my hands, kind of push the buttercream down into the tip until I can actually see it in the tip. Then I'm going to give my bag a little bit of a twist, and I'm actually going to hold the bag in between my thumb and my forefinger. I'm going to put some pressure on it to make sure that my bag that frosting doesn't come out the end of my bag and make a mess. So I'm going to show you a couple of basic piping techniques, and then on my table, I'm actually going to pipe straight on my table so you can see them really well. And then I'm going to go ahead and decorate my cake. So I'm going to start with just a basic border. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just a basic shell border. The way I start this is I start with my bag on the table or on the surface of my cake, and I'm going to start to put pressure down, and I'm going to come up and back down, and up and back down. And this is just going to create a nice, quick, easy little border on your cake. You can do this in a couple of ways. This is just a basic. I can also do scallops. So I can start by piping and come out straight. So I pipe a nice thick dot and then come back out straight and get my scallop border this way. Or I can just do the up and back down, and that's going to give you kind of more of a curved scallop to your border. A couple of other things that I can do with a star tip. It's one of my favorites for versatility. I can make a rosette. So to do a rosette, I'm going to start by piping a circle around my table, and then I'm going to come back and do one more quick circle and get the top. So I come around and then around one more time, and I make this pretty little rose pattern. So I'm going to start on my bottom border of my cake so that I don't have to worry about messing up the top border while I'm piping along the bottom. So I'm just going to do a simple shell border. So I'm going to start and I'm going to come out and back in, out and back in. I'm going to turn my turntable as I need to. So I've got my border around my bottom. I'm just going to do some rosettes across the top of my cake. I'm going to actually pipe on the top of my cake rather than around the side of my cake because I want to make sure that this stays really well. So I'm just going to come up and around, and I start right next to the other rosette and just keep piping my little rosettes. I can fit one more guy in here, and I've got rosettes across the top of my cake. If I want to decorate the sides of my cake a little bit, I can do some straight up ruffles. Same deal as my my scroll tip. So I come along the side of my cake and I just kind of pipe back and forth. I'm just going to do a few stripes to kind of add a little visual interest to the side of my cake. So I'm just going to write the word celebrate on this cake. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to practice it once. So that guy's a little bit wider than my cake, so I need to come in and do just a little bit smaller letter. Put a line underneath, and that's going to fit beautifully on the top of my cake. I'm going to decide what I want to be the front of my cake. Obviously, I want the front to be the prettiest part of my cake, so I'm going to say, I think I want this to be the front of my cake. So I'm going to spin it around so the front is facing me, because you want the front to be the side that's going to face whoever is actually cutting into the cake and how you're going to set it on your table. So then I'm going to start from here. I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did on the table. Just going to come in So now that my cake is decorated, I've gone through 4 easy steps to get a cake. I baked a sponge cake, I crumb coated it, I rolled fondant and covered my cake, and then I decorated it with some simple buttercream decorations. The next time you need to go to a birthday party or have a celebration, you don't have to run off to the grocery store. You can just bake a cake at home in your own kitchen. Enjoy!